with Williams for the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's a public hearing. Has everybody signed in? Special use permits. Do we have any input on that? Has everybody seen the law? Special use permits. Do we have any comments?
I have one question about that.
Okay.
With those changes, so I mean, from what I can tell, it seemed like there were pretty good requirements of having special use permits, but so the process like to pass that new requirement before any special permits would be issued in the town of Machias, or what's based on the new law, the new requirements, or what?
The special use permit will probably go through before the solar law, the change to solar law, just because of timing.
Okay, what about the changes to the special permit requirements that we're looking at now? Will those changes be adopted before special use permits are granted going forward, or is that not?
In all likelihood, yes.
Oh.
Anything else?
So are you planning on doing, are you talking about the special use permit law, or are you talking about the actual special use
No,
permit?
special use law.
Oh,
All the laws have got to go to the county planning board.
okay.
The reason I say that the special use permit law will probably be enacted first is because I'm sure there's going to be some changes to the solar law. So we'll have to send that to the attorney for revisions.
The law will most likely have some changes on this permit, or not. Would the law affect this permit? How?
No. Okay, if anyone's got anything else, I'll close this public hearing and move on to the solar law. Everybody who's reviewed the solar law as amended? Yes, no, maybe?
Maybe.
It's posted on the town website. I've gone through it and suggested a few changes. On page 5, everybody.
Yes, you can take it. It's my own. You can have it though. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, no, it's no problem. Steve has his notes, so I can look at his notes. You got, I didn't make them for everybody because you already had them. Do you want me to run them off real fast? Steve, do you want me to run them?
On page 5, number 3, I didn't find any definition of prime farmland. Page 9, number 3, under E. They're talking about abandoning for a period of 1 year. I would suggest that you do that 80 days rather than 1 year.
What would you consider being abandoned?
When they're no longer producing juice, put it in transmission lines.
So that would beg that we would have access to their daily output. I don't know whether that is something they post and advertise online. I know a lot of the solar arrays and wind turbines do that, but you'd almost have to have access to their net
Unless you have an
metering
answer to that, Henry.
their net metering output.
I think every developer is different as far as the information they share. You know, there are certain requirements as to what they might share with the utility. Obviously, the utility has that information. But as far as the municipal level, I know most don't share that publicly online. I'll say that.
But they would inform us when abandonment is anticipated, or when they're gonna shut it down.
They don't always know that. There are different circumstances in which a project may not, to use the term is to produce juice. There might be certain circumstances. I know a lot of codes do use a year. 180 days is only half, it's not as much time. Every project is different, and that's part of the issue. I don't want to speak from an authority. Every developer is different as far as those metrics.
Is there like a certain threshold that is considered viable versus not viable in terms of overall production? That's kind of the standard to be met as it pertains to that.
Well, there's certainly every project has what's called nameplate capacity. That is the output to the grid, right? So, RAC is 2 megawatt AC. Obviously, there's most developers want to have the juice run, right? Otherwise, they're not going to be getting any return. And the consumers, the subscribers to the project aren't going to be getting any benefit. So there's really no benefit to a developer letting a project sit that isn't producing. That's like having a rental property with no tenant.
In that same paragraph, another suggestion, it says, the system shall be removed, but it doesn't say to where. I said, back to the equipment manufacturer or project developers authorized storage facility. In other words, get it off of the site.
If I could just add one thing that might be helpful. I just want to limit where it can go. If in the future there's like an improved recycling program or something, you may just want to add something in there that says,
Well, I guess maybe we can just add that it has to be removed from site.
yeah. So it's something, I just don't want you to limit where it can go to.
Yeah, I didn't need to limit that, just so it's removed from the site. We can add anything for that.
Then you can choose where you want to put it.
Are landfills taking these?
It depends on
So where would they move them off site if not killing themselves?
it may be that a landfill, most projects, generally speaking, have a warranty area for 40+ use, usually 30 or 35. So I think that's the whole plan is that the recycling process is going to improve. If they're not perfect yet, certainly there's a lot of room for improvement because they've already gotten a lot better in the last 10 years. So I think there's sort of consumption that
Where is the closest recycling?
outside.
Okay, thank you.
On page 10, under C, number 8. So on that illustrate location prime farmland, definition that I'd like to would be New York State, Ag lines 1 through 4. Your classification system. That's going to define prime farmland. Page 11, and number 25, host community agreement, subject to the town and Machias board approval.
Page 10. Page 10.
Page 11. That was a complete addition. Page 13. For operation and maintenance. To include mowing. Because define frequency, vegetation height. Three. We got 2%. I want to change that to equal to prior year inflation as determined by consumer price index. Under decommissioning number 5A, and there's 1 year I changed to 180 days. Page 15. Number 7. Updated bonds should be submitted 45 days prior to special use permit renewal. And fees, the application equal to 1% of the estimated cost. I didn't really have a recommendation. I didn't like 1%.
Who estimates the project cost?
The developer should. They don't want to put another cost. Page 17. Property value guarantee. This one shall not decrease the property value of any adjacent residential property. I'd like to define that as demolition of 3 appraisals, a certified appraiser, take the average thereof.
Can you repeat that proposed change, Mrs.
The last one,
Yeah, about the appraisal.
They need to get 3 certified appraisals, and then average them.
To get the assessment?
Yeah.
The state just passed in the budget legislation, the real property tax law, section 575-B model. So that's now more as far as what's going to govern assessments for projects. So I don't know if 3 appraisals is going to be necessary, since that is now how these projects will be valued.
Oh, that's already codified.
Yeah, that just got signed, I think it was on May 8th. That's been in the legislation since last year. It was tied up in litigation out of Albany County. The budget legislation mooted the litigation, and the litigation was later discontinued. So that model is now what's going to be used, and the Department of Taxation and Finance has put that out again. It's on their website. So the assessor really just has to plug some information in. It yields a value. If you have an equalization rate, that value gets equalized, and that's the assessment.
Could you send Rebecca a copy of that?
Henry, are you talking about appraisal for project or for homeowner property value?
For the project. Oh, I misunderstood. Okay, I thought it was my apologies. I thought it was with respect to the project that you would average the 3 appraisals.
No.
I've never seen, okay. Then disregard what I've said. I'll still send it to Becky.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you define the adjacent residential property? I mean, is that gotta be right next to it, or? I mean, reasonable close. Like, I'm not adjacent to the property, but it's on the same street practically. I mean, we're down very close to the solar. You're talking about the value guarantee on the property.
Yeah. I don't have a good suggestion for that. If anybody's got a suggestion, we'll be glad to consider it.
I mean, you can consider increasing the radius to a certain geographical distance. I don't know what standard would be, if it'd be a mile or 2 or what.
I would,
if you would change the adjacent property to a radius of a mile.
At least the mine, huh?
At least.
And again, with this, it would have to be determined that an individual's property value wasn't in fact decreased due to the presence of the project, so if that was to be the case, then it would make it legitimate regardless of the distance, I guess.
Would change adjacent residential property for a radius of, some miles, a mile or two.
I mean,
You got any suggestions, Dave?
Well, the only comment I would have is that, the main effect is going to be on a property that's right adjacent to it. It's not going to be a long distance away. I mean, if you're down a half mile away, depending on whether you can see it or not, I don't think you'd see much change in it.
Well, if the property adjacent to the project decreases the value, so it's gonna be the next house and the next one
right.
on the street. It's not gonna be just that house.
Depends on whether you can see it or not. I mean, visually in your sight rating and stuff. I don't think you'll see much change in value. I mean, I've been a realtor for 25 years now.
Right.
And I've studied the windmill projects over in other counties here. And the property values really didn't drop that much. They dropped a little bit.
So there will be a problem or changing it to. If you're not worried about the prices going down, you shouldn't worry about changing that to a rate.
I think one thing that might be helpful to understand is, how frequently with those, there's a lot of questions that I have about something like this. How frequently are those appraisals being done? Who's paying to do those appraisals, and the broader the area that is, the more expensive it's gonna be.
I've been a realtor for many years too, and
I'm just asking.
and what I'm saying is that you can appraise your property now, or you can appraise your property, considering what the value of the houses were in your area last year. I mean, you can determine whether the price came down after the project or before. That's not gonna be a problem. Now, if we're not worried about being, within a distance from the property, there shouldn't be a problem of changing the ratings. Because if the project affects the house that is right adjacent to it, it's gonna affect the property values around a certain area, close to the project. Like, I wouldn't wanna live in where they have what do you call those, stations? Where the
Substation.
Substation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wanna live next to a substation.
Mhm.
If they were putting a substation within half a mile of my house, I'd be worried. And this, it's not a substation, but
Well, a good example of that is, you take in any town, there's substations all over the place, and there's houses right side up. But I don't think you can see any difference in value.
I see different values.
And what you have to do in the value of the house.
As a realtor, I mean, you're being a realtor. You wouldn't suggest to a buyer to buy next to a substation. I wouldn't.
I would tell them, it's here, be aware of it, it's your choice. Now, the other thing is, if you're gonna check on values, right now, we're going back 6 months to get comparables on houses. So you have to check that quite often to make sure you're where you're at. And here again, the prices fluctuate dramatically depending on the market.
Yes. So I suggest that we change it to a rating. It's called, I mean, it also number 11, aquifer protection. That's something that the previous report saying that there might be an effect on the aquifer protection. So that's our main concern.
Mhm.
Because, we're right below the aquifer.
Mhm.
I think by geography though, that they determined that it should not affect the aquifer.
As all the reports did. When the study was done, it was done during a time that was kind of dry, so they wouldn't,
Well, you're kind of protected the way it reads there anyway, where it says no solar energy shall have an adverse impact on it. So you're already protected there, they can't have an effect.
Right.
So it's, you want to protect it.
Can I just ask, how is that proven that it wouldn't have an effect?
By the geographic.
By an engineering study.
So, are you guys aware of the lawsuits in like Chautauqua County and all the different places, Mayville, that actually have lawsuits due to PFAS on aquifers in the water?
PFAS related to solar or PFAS in general?
That's just bad.
So it's in general, there's other places like Virginia, North Carolina, that we're having issues.
Yeah,
So-
PFAS and PFOA is very common because of firefighting foam. That's why they've kind of changed a lot of the house of 3M and Teflon, things in non-stick coatings and things have been a lot of where that PFOA and PFAS come from. But I want to be clear. Are you saying that there are lawsuits that connect or allege PFAS and PFOA related to solar, or that there are just lawsuits in general?
So there is in other states that are more ahead of this.
Related to solar?
Yeah.
What states? I'm curious.
I said Virginia, North Carolina, I think is having issues right now. So is there PFAS film on the solar?
Not that I'm aware of. I think no lawsuits in New York.
So is there going to be proof that there is no PFAS on the solar panel? Will there be proof that there isn't being used
By whom?
by the solar developers?
I think that's an open question. I don't know how you prove. I'm not aware of any PFOA or PFAS or any of those what they call emerging contaminants under DEC standards in solar. Not aware.
We'll have to do studies on that.
With respect to the projects that have been before the board, there's been extensive studies well beyond what has even been typical in other communities. So I think those are, in terms of the projects before the board during the meeting, have already been vetted.
The other changes, anybody wants to suggest?
I have a suggestion for the whole community benefit number 10. We don't have, there's not a defined number of years, like there's not a defined number of years for a particular project. I would say maybe we could consider, instead of putting a number of years in there, that it would be the length of a particular project, whether it's, 10 years or 30 years, that as long as that project is still there and hasn't been mentioned and removed, that a payment would be due to the town until that takes place, would be my suggestion. Because why settle for a 10 or 15 or 20-year term of payment if this project potentially be there for 30 plus years?
What page are you on?
It's page 17, number 10, both year benefit. We have a blank spot for term of years. I'm assuming because the project will get from, I don't want to last, but if we define it by the length of that particular project until it's decommissioned and removed, then I feel like that affects the town that they're going to receive financial benefit until that project is removed off, removed from the town.
I think he's seeing a yearly benefit instead of a one-time
Yeah.
payment, kind of what I set with the easement and the roof thing.
And that's been involved in, opening up negotiation with the developers. And sit down and, from the mutual agreeable number. Period.
Do we have it in the law going forward?
Yes.
Is that what we mean?
Yeah.
Really get cleaned up there.
Maybe motivation.
I was just, one more question about this, basically, the legislative process going forward or timeframe, like, how soon do we expect to get these revisions passed, knowing that there's, you know, other projects probably coming down the pipe here, and the moratorium running out soon. What are we looking at?
Well, if we can agree that, we've got all the changes, I'll send these up to the attorney. Have the changes incorporated into the agreement. Into the law. And, we can vote on this next month. Send it to the county.
I agree with the changes that you have done it, Steve. The only one other thing which I didn't see it as I was scrolling through here, but I did see it at one point. There was a part that talks about no more than 10% of prime agricultural land will be covered with solar in the town, and I would just put out there that we consider eliminating the no prime land in use for solar.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
Anything that's interstate 1 through 4 would be a non-viable site.
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right.
It kind of protects the agricultural land. Any other changes?
Have some comments, perhaps,
Okay.
but anybody else want to go first? Or I ramble on?
Well, it's a little bit tough sometimes to get things entirely, but will the version with those comments be posted
Yes.
online? I found it very good.
Yeah, I will, as soon as the attorney types it all up, I will post it.
As long as we have it back by mid-June, we will put it on the website.
Alrighty. Otherwise, you might have to wait.
Okay, I guess you got Scott.
Hey, page 4, applicability. Refers to type 1 and type 2. That is large scale, one being over 5 megawatts, one being under 5. Why differentiate for both utility purveyors? I'm just looking, this is a way to simplify things.
Where was that?
Page 4.
Page 4.
There's type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 3 would be a homeowner type grade or a farm grade. You're producing, you know, enough power to offset your monthly bill. The other two are utility generators, purveyors of electric power. Is there any reason to differentiate between the two?
Isn't that a NYSERDA definition?
Mhm.
I think that's a NYSERDA definition.
And page 5, number 2, type 1, development area created by the action of the town board. Has that been created yet?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 5, number 2.
Page 5, number 2, type 1 SPS shall only be permitted in type 1 SPS development area.
That has not yet been developed. We're next month, I believe we're gonna have a presentation on comprehensive plan, some zoning.
So
Number 8, same page. That's me, holy cow. Anyway, a minimum of 3-foot center walkway between panels or arrays for safety access. That's mainly for fire service, but there's a huge difference between panels or arrays. Generally, if you're gonna roof mount solar, you'll have a string of arrays that are mauled together. And then you'll have a 3-foot space, and then you'll have another string of arrays going across the roof. If you separate both rows and arrays, nobody would be able to, well, it wouldn't be practical. Wouldn't bother me because I wouldn't put it on my roof anyway. I would recommend that we center walkway between arrays and eliminate panels. Yeah.
What, you want to eliminate?
Panels.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they could have 6 panels that are all linked together.
No, I'm okay with that.
Page 6, general provisions A. I'll just read it. All SPSs existing on the effective date of this local law shall be allowed to continue usage as they presently exist. Routine maintenance, including replacements with new systems of light construction size, shall be permitted on such existing systems. So if you're talking about replacement kind, if the initial system was designed for a 20-year or 25-year useful life, are we saying that year 19 or year 24, they can go ahead and replace all the panels in kind and then go?
That would be the way I read it.
That's something as a board you'd want to maybe talk about. Is it just not that anybody would be that sneaky to do something like that? I'm just thinking at the end of the day, if you had a site, you were permitted for a site, rather than go through the expense of new engineering drawings, new special use permit, go through all that. You just replace everything in kind at year 19 or year 24, you're good to go. Or am I missed? Does it read that way? Reading it wrong.
But the permit sentence. Construction other than routine maintenance shall fully comply with requirements of local law.
But it says routine maintenance and then in parentheses, including replacement with new system of light construction and size shall be permitted on such existing systems. So typically the warranty period, there's a lot of premature failures of these panels under warranty. That's why they don't like posting the output of the stuff. You get a little snow on the corner or you get, 10% early failure rate on these things, and the output of these things goes way under nameplate rated. But here you're talking about being able to replace that entire system in kind, really at any point. I guess you're issuing a permit to build this array, but you're not ending it. You're basically leading up to the end of life cycle as advertised to determine when you're gonna pull this thing out of the ground and throw it away. But if somebody wants to redo the whole thing in kind, it sounds like they can do it.
He's right.
But it has to comply with what they have there now, right? So.
Yeah, it would be replaced
That's
in
what it
kind.
says, they couldn't fully change the system.
No, it would be replaced
So they
in
have to
kind.
comply with what's there.
Yeah,
So do you consider that maintenance or what do you do? I guess we'd have to ask Joel, how we can make that it's, when you determine maintenance.
well, I guess my point is you could, I guess if the idea is at the end of the useful life of this initial array that it's gonna get decommissioned, pulled out of the ground, you're gonna put the property back to the way it was. Or they have theoretical lifetime use of this permit, they can just keep replacing this thing in kind and infinitum and whatever. I just want to clarify.
But you have to reissue this, they have to apply for the special use permit
Yeah.
every year.
It's not you, that's an annual thing.
So you could just deny it if they,
Put $15 million worth of solar panels in to redo it
Without-
and then deny it.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it has to be renewed every year.
It's no risk. However, it's no risk.
Oh, fair enough, I just.
You can, look at that and see, what we can do on that.
Bunch of comments on page 8, but it's really the nitty gritty of the whole code enforcement, so we'll do with that. You talk about system output. I don't know if there's any provision that the town board can come up with for both the projects on the table now and future projects where we're given access to the output. And the page 9, number 4, talks about the annual maintenance on it. I guess up front, we should be looking for annual inspection criteria. I'm not sure whether that could be written in, but just to be mindful of it. You get into preventative maintenance, things get leaks on things. And then page 11, number 13, proof of completed project viability study.
Yeah, going back to that number 4, I mean, need to perform the inspection. Be a certified person,
Well, you make a good point. Because if it's the operator of the array, which you think it probably should be, they would be taking care of their own equipment. But is that,
yeah, but they may cut costs, you know how things work.
But it says they have to give you a copy of it, so if they're not doing an inspection. And then before they get their special use permit, it's gotta come from you that you've been okayed by the inspection, am I right? If I read that right?
that is correct.
Okay, then we're protected then.
It's just a matter of knowing what the criteria is, and there really only be 2 overriding reasons we would be concerned. One would be safety. And then the other one would be the premature decommissioning, 180 days if it was abandoned. If they choose to operate the thing at less than peak efficiency, that's good on them. So on page 11, number 13, proof of completed project viability study. I have an idea of what that is, but I'm wondering if we should better define that. It should include power quality, voltage study, protection control, and grounding. And they're usually a year or 2 ahead of the game when they decide they're gonna put one of these up. But that's what National Grid would require.
Which one was that?
Power quality, voltage, yeah, power quality, voltage study, protection control, the bonding and grounding scheme.
That's something you feel comfortable with, we need an engineer to look at that.
Probably both. I'm pretty good with the high voltage power distribution. Always good to have an extra set of eyes. There's a lot. And Grid will spend tons and tons of time going through the coordination study. how that fits in. In fact, there's usually a lot of pushing and shoving when they're trying to get one of these up online and running, waiting for grid to provide clearance. One more, page 12, screening visibility and access under number 1. Third sentence down, and other equipment is limited from roadways and neighboring properties. Is it worth defining limited? I don't need to be petty. And the reason I say that, when you read down through there, I think it does a good job of basically stating nobody wants to see these damn things either from the property or from the road. They're ugly, they're intrusive. But anytime there's language that's up for debate, then debated.
That's what keeps our memories in practice.
He's gonna say, they make money writing it, they make money litigating it. Good.
You might want to wonder about that. Existing vegetation still utilized to the fullest extent. We don't need grass getting installed.
Well,
Well, on page 13, operation and maintenance plan to include mowing, landscaping, and screening, maintenance, and replacement. So they are to provide a plan for all that, and so we would have to try to do diligence and make sure it's.
I got that, if you include mowing, I said define the frequency.
Yeah.
Whether it's like vegetation height and
Yeah, but still, I was just, somebody's gonna come up with, well, we let the grass grow up, we let the weeds grow up, for ground that covered everything. That's, that's gonna pop up somewhere.
No, that's where we're location. When you get some kind of, you're right.
And then finally, last but not least, page 13, decommissioning, which is B. Who does the cost estimate of the decommissioning? If it's the project operator, I would suggest it's going to be like $50. Because we're going to take a D10 cat and lay down, and but I think it really ought to have a third party licensed professional engineer do that if that's not the intent already. If I wouldn't have the operator do it.
well, if you look at B, decommissioning cost estimate prepared by a stamped certified licensed professional engineer.
Who's licensed professional engineer though? Technically, they have a license and everything should be above board and whatnot. And I'm just trying to envision a public meeting a few years from now when there's not enough money because the cost estimate was done by somebody that probably shouldn't have done it. So if that licensed professional engineer is kind of on the payroll of the operator, the owner, I would think probably be a little unethical, but I think you probably want a third party doing it.
If an engineer is gonna sign something, knowingly it's false, and he's gonna get his license pulled.
Well, you wouldn't do it knowingly it's false, but it would be on the low side of fair, I would think.
Did they graduate from Harvard or school in Mexico? I mean, where did they get their certificate?
I mean, I've seen a lot of dumb shit over the years.
But our engineers look at that, look at those to make sure that they
I was just thinking.
like MDA, yeah,
Engineer.
yeah, to verify that.
Yeah,
they
just
agree.
something like that to clarify who's gonna
Something.
do it.
They agree with it.
That's what I was talking about, the maintenance requirement, and maybe not every year, at least 5 years. You should have a third party evaluate that inspection.
I think that's in here, that where every 5 years it's got to be reevaluated.
For the maintenance of the project.
No, on the decommissioning.
You good now?
Larry.
No. You're the one that has to approve all this stuff, so.
We'll keep Joel busy for a few days.
Yeah, I think. Anybody else got any suggested changes?
Good job, Michelle.
Excuse me?
Good job.
His son is an electrical engineer that worked for Grid and has input into this stuff for him, so.
Okay, nobody else has got anything? We'll get up and move on to our regular meetings.
Ready for you to sign in. A whole bunch of people came in. Yeah, if you didn't sign in, can you guys sign in? What is pass around?
Okay, you get a roll call?
Okay, Steve?
Sure.
Bob Shank?
Here.
Frank Ford?
Here.
Tom Reese?
Yeah.
Bob Green?
Any chance to read the minutes from last month?
We'll make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. No executive session that I'm aware of. Everybody needs your second?
No.
Okay. Additions, requests on the floor.
I gave you that resolution.
Yeah. We haven't got the resolution yet.
Okay. Okay, let's, I'm trying to follow along.
Okay. Youth Commission.
Yes. Sorry, can't hear you.
Sorry, Kathy.
I have this to hand over. This is for the rec staff shirts. I emailed her a list of all the employees.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine.
I just got it.
That's fine. No, it's okay.
So she will have that.
Okay.
I have a handwritten one if you want to see that.
Got all their paperwork done, W-2s, I-9s.
No, we're gonna do that on the 13th.
Today's the 50th.
No, next month.
Oh,
After the barbecue. I still gotta get them all to the chicken barbecue, which is May 29th. Fire hall. Same company doing it again. That's about it. I'd like to know when they're coming to open the pool or if you've heard anything.
Timmy, I talked to Timmy today. I think it's gonna happen like this week, supposedly. They told me they were gonna come out and finish up doing what they gotta do.
And we'll see if there's a leak in connections to the pump room. Or if there's,
There's something going on because when I fill the pool, there's water all over at that gate.
Weren't they, didn't Dewey Pool say something that they were gonna have to dig something up or something last year?
No, they
Did
just
they
said
give
that
us-
they would have to pressure test it
Okay.
and all that stuff. And that was the estimate we were waiting on. And then when we called, they had no idea.
Right, yeah. Well, then I'll mention Timmy and I'll make sure this guy from Springville knows that he maybe got a pressure test that and see what
I think he can't.
he doesn't.
So we gotta find someone that can.
We might be able to get, Alvin or some one of them guys. Pressure test the water lines, maybe even Eric, yeah, Eric, so what, maybe. We'll get somebody to do it.
Okay. All right, and then. I don't know, what else do you want to know from us?
But Timmy was saying that they're gonna cover, or do the blacktop.
Yep.
Seal it, and then you guys are gonna try to get lines put on it, and all that stuff.
The same companies do both.
Okay,
Steel and line.
and Timmy was talking about maybe moving the sign where it's Gary Berman's sign over a little bit. And then try to put like a small little soccer field in there for the kids. We're gonna see if we can find a couple nets. So the littler kids, it's not gonna be for the adults, but maybe for the littler kids, they have a couple little nets and. It's for the little kids, it'll be just something that they can play with, it's not gonna be huge. But just to add to it that they got something else to go around and keep it all.
Yeah, because we're gonna take out the flower box.
Yeah,
That's all about it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's possible.
Did we check with Herman's on any changes? They're
As
okay with it?
far as. No, but I will touch base with them. I'll get a hold of, yes.
Timmy said he was gonna talk to one of the local landscapers. And his guys will do it, but they're gonna give us some ideas how to do it when they do move it.
The sign and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he said he's gonna try to do that.
It's fine with me.
One last thing.
Well, yeah, because Jen and I were gonna tackle that.
Well, maybe touch base with Timmy and maybe you guys can make the committee and put the whole thing together. But he was gonna get somebody to come in and give some ideas of what it could be, what could be done.
I know he's gonna pull the shrubs out.
Yeah.
But yes, I will touch base with Diane about the slide. That's really the only thing that will be coming out. That everyone wants out, which I don't understand why. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah. I wrote down that slide.
Yeah, the firms on our way.
That made it a little tougher.
Yeah, when you're wet, you really go.
Yeah. But great job, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Can I give you anything?
Timmy just said that the highway truck is supposed to be in this week. And then it goes out for the bond. So hopefully we'll have it for November. That's, by the time they put everything together, just hope you'll have it for 12 seasons.
All right.
Can we do water? Talk about the water bills?
The water meters are about 60% replaced. Now, the problem is we don't have readings on the 60% replaced. We can't read the new ones.
Yeah.
Until they're all in.
Until they're in, and the company comes down and shows us what we gotta do.
And bills, we should be reading.
One of them estimate.
Well, that was our, that was either wait and do billing late, which would screw a lot of people up, or estimate everybody this time and just explain what.
We estimate, will we get an accurate reading?
We will. Dan.
He's
been recording all the meter readings when he takes them out of the house. So he'll handle
Or else we estimate it.
And then it won't be such a hard hit if it was.
Lots of people are only gonna pay for
Yeah, so we'll just estimate it where their bills have been, the computer figures it out, so, okay, so I would do that and send bills out.
Perfect.
And then. Dog control, just so you know, we have a new dog control officer, Samantha Smith. Kay Barrington quit. And she's out of East Otto. She has been apparently very on top of things, and she's already been issuing tickets. Fran told me he's gotten a few of those already, so new building inspector on top of things, new dog. Yes, I do. I'll get it for you in a second.
Fran had a little problem today. When she posted it, she was sending the tickets to his home address.
Yeah. So we fixed that.
We fixed that.
And then I only had two other things that people have reached out to me for. One is the cemetery, Maple Grove. And I've been in there marking a few graves recently. I understand it was really, really wet when they started cutting, but the grass is all over all the markers. They blew all the grass onto the markers and it looks terrible. And some people have been complaining. So we want you to have Tim talk to them.
I get over it.
Okay. And then I had a couple people reach out to me about Lime Lake and the garbage in the lake and asking if either the Cottage Owners Association or Highway could put out signs and garbage cans so people don't throw stuff in the lake. I mean, this one girl said she pulled out a bicycle and then people are constantly cutting their feet on glass and broken bottles on the bottom of the lake when they go swimming. So,
Do we know what location wise?
where the kids jump. Probably down. I know the corner on Elton and, Potter, that corner is full, it's all floating in there and it looks terrible over there, but I don't know where they could put some signs or some cans, but,
That's what the bid blows it.
yeah, so, I mean, I can ask the girls where they're pulling the stuff out of, I mean, they text message or message me on Facebook, but, that was something I said I would bring to the board, so.
If you throw bicycles in there, it's.
Well, that you're not,
Kids
no,
being kids.
no, I know, but some of the other stuff like bottles and glass and stuff, yeah.
We used to have garbage cans down there, but then everybody put the garbage in instead of, you know,
Oh, yeah,
we had to move them.
Garbage can.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it.
I'll get the association to put some signs down there. It's not no littering.
Okay.
We add some down there, but
Okay,
we'll get some. Remote down.
thank you.
The water meters, the company today, there's about 15 1-inch meters that they're gonna convert to 3/4-inch meters. I don't know why they had 1-inch meters. That's what they ran into. About 45, no response addresses. Door hangers. And Christine said they were getting calls left and right last couple of days. My solution to anybody that doesn't respond is we send a certified letter to cut the water off, but they don't respond. One meter for the well house. I think that had a problem. The company's working on getting that fixed. But you've got 3 of did respond. They wanted a June appointment for one reason or another. One through chemo treatments. A couple of them were going to be out of town until June timeframe. They didn't seem to have any problem with that. The dog control officer. There's requirements he's working on the water tower. State requirement cost us $965. Just need authorization to sign this and send it back.
It's a state required.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, really, push the option.
Thanks for letting us know.
Your property. Activities for the month.
Couple items, quick.
Okay.
You can see the first 4 metrics, self-explanatory. Property maintenance. Rebecca and I pretty busy firing out letters. We are getting some good response. Actually, a couple of places that I didn't think we'd get clean are starting to get clean. The one is 10078 Route 16. There's a dumpster there. Yep. There's all the tires are.
I think they put the tires on trailers. I see they're slowly picking away at it.
Good.
Did you guys did you ever check that there's someone living in that building?
Oh, yeah.
There is.
I know there is. What can they do about that? I mean, that
I told them, let's worry about getting the place cleaned up first, and then we're gonna take a look at that.
Okay.
It's listed as a machine shed. Apparently, when it was built, whenever, it was built as an apartment, but I guess we'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's only been like the last year or two that someone's actually living in the house. But God, if something were to happen there, that would be just a disaster. Okay, but it's getting better. Yeah, when it's like when you're coming into to the lake from right there, that one on the left hand side.
We basically have the full gamut. We've got, basically no response, and then we've got probably better than half the people who responded to the nice letter. Cool. Yeah, we're making it that way. We also have that trio on Brown and Junction Road. That's gonna be stay tuned. And then website updates, if you haven't had a chance, jump onto the town website. We've made some put some additions on there to kind of help guide people through the project, what's required, what inspections will be required, what application information is required. So that'll be a work in progress. We'll continue buffing that up until we're best in class. And then in the process of kind of re-looking at the building permit schedule fee, want to kind of clean that up a little bit. Don't envision raising the rates much, but just kind of simplifying things. Based on what I've seen come in for permits and requests, they don't always match what's on the current list. And then because we're getting so many property maintenance calls, and we do have a good portion of people not responding. There's some of them certified letters back unsigned. I did talk to both Denise and Fran about the proper procedure for bringing them in and going down that road. I also have a couple of contacts from other townships, so find out what they're doing, how successful they are. So you guys surprised with that? Good.
That one resolution that you didn't know what it was. I think it was by itself.
The prepay.
Approval for pre-balance?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that was. Okay, here you go. Very interesting.
Okay. Want to give us some background on this stuff?
Oh, yeah. This is a resolution I gave to the board to consider signing to ask the state representatives and everyone else in authority for an official audit of the 2022 election. And this is based on the citizens have done an audit already, and they have found our laws are being violated. And this is not good. So for instance, the citizens have found that 2,427,827 New York State voter ID numbers are attached to 1,170,790 registrants. 987,490 voters registered on January 1st from 1900 to 221. 1.9 million registrations in the state voter rolls are missing from the county rolls. 625,359, I'm sorry. Yes, 625,355 more registrations than voting age citizens in just 6 counties. 740,396 ineligible votes statewide. 338,356 more votes cast than voters who voted in 220. 195,271 votes cast in New York City that went missing in the New York State voter database. So the conclusion, and this information that citizens have gathered, they've gathered it from the Board of Elections via FOIL, the FOIL laws. So they're not making this up. They've gathered the evidence, they've looked at it, and I read you some of the main problems that they found. And for an election, the voter rolls must be accurate. They are not accurate. The votes counted must be from qualified voters. They are not. The number of votes must equal the number of voters. Again, they will not. I've read you some numbers there. And this is just a summary sheet. There is so much more. If anyone wants someone to come here, they will give you in-depth information, answer questions. So the conclusion is over 1 million felony violations of New York State election law occurred. And these numbers were for 2020 because that's what they've gathered so far. They're working on 2022. But because these problems were not fixed prior to 2022, we can only assume they're still going on. And so we're talking about not just the presidency, but 95 state and federal legislative races were impacted by 740,396 ineligible votes in New York. The New York State Board of Elections, I'm sorry. So we're not saying they're doing this on purpose. We don't know who's doing what. That's why they want an audit. The citizens across the state of New York. I'm asking this town to support by signing this resolution. It's a nice resolution. These citizens who have been auditing on their own are quite educated, you know, so they wrote up quite a nice resolution. Again, pointing out these major problems, and if anyone does want anyone to come here, let me know. And I'll try to get someone here.
Personally, I would rather see them clean up the voter rolls for coming elections than worry.
Yes, yes, and that would be the main, yes, absolutely. Yes.
I didn't see where that was even anticipated in here.
Okay, that, I should have put that in my own, intro page as well. I thought about that. Yes, that would certainly be the main goal of this as we have new elections coming up.
I would support, changes for future elections and let the past.
Right,
Yeah, pass.
right.
Because there's nothing we're gonna do about it now.
Right, right,
Like beat the dead horse.
right. Absolutely. But if we're finding all these problems that happened in 2020, they're asking for an audit for 2022. Let's see if what they found is continuing in 2022, and we're asking for it to be done officially by, right, who's the official people? We're asking, something needs to be done because citizens across New York are finding our laws are being violated. The voter rolls are not clean, and the problems are multiple. And we want our elections fair for certainly this coming election. Yes.
I would support, changes for the future, but past be past. Move on.
Well, I think she's saying,
Yeah.
she's saying you have to go back to prove it was
Right.
done to stop it. It's gonna happen again in
Right.
2024. Unless they do an audit and find out where the discrepancies are.
Right.
What she's saying.
Right. So that
Otherwise, it just, it's gonna
Right.
happen again.
Yeah.
If they don't clean it, whatever.
The way they want it.
we got to try. Right.
So they don't think Joe Biden had any.
Anybody.
And again, this is bigger than just the presidency. We're talking about New York representatives here. 95 positions, state positions, seats, making laws for New York. So,
You better get any opinions one way or the other?
Let's table it till next month so we can look into this. I want to find out who these people are, and what it is.
Okay.
I'm all for it because if they are, believe me,
yes,
I agree. with them.
okay. And if you want,
Whether we're gonna be able to stop it, I don't know.
would you like someone to come talk to you more qualified than me? You know, I'm just on the outskirts.
You explain it.
All right.
I just like to.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks. Resolutions.
Resolutions.
Approval of monthly street payments. Resolution.
Guys, this, one thing I forgot to say earlier, sorry, I skipped my mind, but I did get a call from Brandon Beamer today, who wanted to be there, but he had a baseball game for his son, but he wanted me to let the board know that he's actively pursuing a new seeker on the project here in town because there's a nest of baby bald eagles that was just born. So he just wanted me to make everybody aware of that. Sorry, who was that? Brandon Beamer.
Secret's done, so you have to do a new seeker.
Well, the new seeker was done a long time ago by the county. And now he's concerned, you know, that there's new information now because there's baby eagles that were just
I
born.
think Brandon was informed by our attorney today or yesterday to notify the state or notify the county.
Yeah, he said about that one.
So that's where we're at with that. He was notified by
Oh,
that.
you guys heard it.
Yep.
Okay.
Hearing. Resolution pertaining to application for special use permit. Type one SPS facility. Voters received application. Type one SPS. Machias BV LLC in accordance with local law 1.1. Machias. Project involves construction for plus or minus 2 megawatt solar facility on a portion of the existing parcel located at 9475 Main Street. Town of Machias, Roberts County, New York. Parcel ID is 30.002-1-25. Facility will include 1 20-foot gravel access road, common gate. Their equipment bed, transformers, inverters, ground fence, ground mounted solar, photovoltaic arrays, underground collection lines. Throughout the site, overhead transmission line interconnects. The details of the known racking system that will be piled driven into the ground. Solar facilities will be connected to electric grid by overhead transmission line interconnections. Tree clearing and grubbing will be required. Whereas on July 18th, 2022, Machias Town Board reviewed the special use permit application submitted by Machias Mtg LLC. Determined the application was complete according to the town's law 1/2021. And scheduled a public hearing for the project. Whereas on June 20th, 2022, Machias Town Board established itself as lead agency for the purpose of seeker, determining the project to be a type 1 action, and important date review process. Whereas on August 15th, 2022, Machias Town Board held a public hearing on the project. In our public hearing, verbal comments and concerns were heard by the town board. Additional written comments were provided to the town board by a letter thereafter. Whereas on September 8th, 2020, the Roberts County Industrial Development Agency determined that the project with the proposed mitigation efforts will have no significant adverse environmental impacts. Issued a negative declaration as defined in the seekers. Whereas the town of Machias Board approved the application, Roberts County Planning Work for review in accordance with New York State municipal law 239M. Roberts County Planning Board has not made a recommendation in accordance with 239M. Whereas the applicant has submitted decommissioning plan prepared by Fisher Associates, includes an estimated cost to complete decommissioning. Now therefore be it resolved, Machias Town Board grants issue both constructing solar project submit condition for submit an application building permit to the town CEO Prior to the work being completed on the site, building permit application shall contain product information for all materials and equipment used on the site. No substitution of these materials will be permitted without the approval of the town Machias CEO. The applicant will submit an application for floodplain development permit to town CEO prior to any work being completed on the site. This approval is for construction of a 2 megawatt solar facility as indicated on the application. The size of the facility will not be increased without written approval of both the Machias Town Board and the Machias Town CEO. The applicant will be responsible for obtaining permit coverage under New York State DEC, DES, general permit for stormwater discharges, construction activity, GP 0-20-001, of the newest division. The applicant should be responsible for obtaining the required environmental permits for any incidental impacts of bald eagle near the project site. The applicant will be responsible for obtaining necessary permits to New York State Department of Transportation for proposed work and the DOT right-of-way bounds. The applicant will provide requirements and guidelines of New York State Railroad agricultural guidelines for agricultural mitigation, solar energy products, dated October 19, 2018. Solar panels installed on the site should not utilize cadmium and telluride or other materials commonly known to be potentially toxic or carcinogenic. Solar panels are found across America Glen and neighboring structures, public highways. The applicant will be responsible for addressing the glare with additional screening or other methods. These issues are not addressed in a timely manner. The special use permit will not be renewed. No herbicide or pesticides will be used on site. Upon completion of decommissioning, the applicant will be responsible for deeply ripping the topsoil and removing burden layers to decompact the soils. Construction activity shall not occur outside of work hours. Listed on the EAF Part 1, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The applicant will be required to establish a decommissioning fund based on estimated decommissioning costs, escrow or other means except for town attorney. Prior to issuance of any government. Execution of community benefit agreement approved by the attorney for the town. The special use permit will be renewed annually in accordance with the town of Machias local law 1 year 2021. Issuance of special use permit does not leave the applicant for adhering to any and all local, state, federal laws, rules, and regulations. Violations of any conditions in this special permit, site plan approval, or any other local, federal laws, regulations shall be grounds for revocation. Plus the use permit on the site plan revocation may occur after the applicant is notified in writing all violations in town of Machias. Solution stage is hereby adopted by majority vote of the town board, meeting held on the 15th day of May, year 2023. No granting of the special use permit tonight, as it's together through this county planning board for 30 days. We've got an opportunity to give a thumb up, thumbs down. Discussion. What's that?
No, this was
This is one down by Brandon's. Move that, reserve the issuance of the special use permit pending,
he wouldn't,
in county planning board.
yeah, he wouldn't be able to issue it anyways until the law is passed, so.
No.
Reading on that final.
But it's our pleasure. We wanted to table it.
Point of information about tabling. Did you say something about being subject to the county planning board?
Yeah, we're going to refer it to the county planning board.
It's already been referred. And they didn't take any action.
The special use permits been referred?
Yeah, no, it's,
Yeah, it says in
I
here.
think it states right in the permit.
Yeah, right on the first page.
Well, the one that kind of didn't make any accommodation. They didn't get it,
Well, that's,
No, it's not that.
but
No, this is from before.
Wasn't that for the exemption that was referred to the county planning board?
everything's been referred to the county planning. Everything's been referred to the county planning.
Special use permit?
The only thing that hasn't been referred is the two laws. Revised solar law, which we can't refer until we get all those changes out. And
Don't you have to have a public hearing before it's referred to the county planning board?
you just had public hearings.
right, no, that's what you're referring
Right.
So why is,
Well, that's on the law.
to. Do you have the county's answer for these? This is kind of,
They didn't reply to it.
but that's the one they didn't get.
They got.
No, I heard they didn't.
I sent everything to Joe. They got it, I have email proof of it, they didn't
But
respond.
yes, but we talked about that last time. Email proof wasn't the planning board, it was
It
somebody in the office.
went to the point of contact.
Who was the point of contact? Do you have a name for that?
You're referring to
Who is that? She on the planning board?
You're referring to the many more twenty.
He's the head of the county planning.
Yeah, that was the more, which is,
That was the moratorium?
yeah, that doesn't have to do with this.
Right, and they answered this one, is what I'm saying. The county planning, they didn't say anything to it?
No, this one, no, we didn't reply.
Okay, this Felton Hill is 2.2 megawatt, that's what it's gonna be,
No, there's two of them on top of them.
so that's 4.4.
No, there's one that's 5 and one's 2.2.
Those are two separate.
Yeah, there's two separate, yeah, on one side. So there's 3 resolutions for 3 projects.
Okay,
Couple east, couple west.
so you got 2 pieces.
I stapled it all together, it was too much paper.
Okay, well, we can do a roll call here.
Well, somebody's got to move it. They're doing something.
What are we doing?
The one I just read.
Yeah.
Special use permit.
The special use permit can't be issued until the lawyer signs off on the HCA. And we passed the law that he could sign it, that he can issue it, that Scott can issue it, so.
We don't have the HC.
Yeah, I know.
Is that something we do first or?
Yeah.
We don't have the HCA, we can't.
Well, we can vote on this. It's a condition of getting the special use permit.
Yeah, and I just found the letter, it was August 15, 2022. We responded. Marie Myers, Shearing, Planning, County.
Thank you.
So we can move this.
Yeah.
Also move it.
Second.
That's accurate.
Steve,
Yes.
Tom?
Yep.
Bob Shank,
Yes.
Bob Green,
No.
Frank Ford.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Application for special use permit, type on this facility. Board CBS, type on this USSD 2578 Hill East LLC, departed from local law 121. Machias. Project about construction of a plus or minus 2.2 megawatt solar facility. Question, Patterson located at 4578 Felton Hill Road in the town of Machias, Carolina, State of New York. Parcel ID 21.003 is 17.1. So we will include 1.4 million gravel access roads and turnaround and gate. Put the path to come forward, road or fence, ground mounted solar, four metallic arrays, underground collection lines to the site, where the transmission line unit connect. New panels will be done on a racking system, pile driven into the ground. And the solar facilities will be connected to electric grid by overhead transmission line interconnect. Peak clarity and gravity will be required. May 16, 2022, the Charlestown Board of Grid. Revenues permit application for the site planning looking 4578 Elton Mill Road. During the application is complete. According to the town's local law 1.41. Federal public hearing on the project. There's on 3/20/2022, Charlestown Board established itself as a lead agency for purchase seeker during type 1 action. We had a coordinated review process. Whereas on July 18, 2022, Charlestown Board held a public hearing on this project. During the public hearing, verbal comment concern was heard by the town board. 15 written comments were presented to the town board by a letter thereafter. Whereas on December 9, 2022, the Charlestown Board determined this project with the proposed mitigation efforts will have no significant adverse environmental impact. The issue of the negative declaration is from the seeker. Whereas the town board referred the application to KRS County Planning Work will review in parts with the New York State Municipal Law 239M. KRS County Board has not made a recommendation in accordance with 239M. Whereas the applicant has been a deconditioned plan prepared by Fisher and Associates with included estimated deconditioning cost. Now therefore, the duties of the Charlestown Board approves project site plan, reads the issuance of special use permit, and proposed construction of the 4578 Dalton Hill Road East solar project based on applicant materials submitted and following conditions that shall submit application for building permit to the town CEO prior to any work being completed on the site. Building permit application shall contain product information for all materials and put use on the site. No substitution of these materials should be permitted without written approval of the town CEO. This approval is for the construction of a 2.2 megawatt solar facility located on lands. Size of the facility shall not be increased without written approval from both the Machias Town Board and the town of Machias CEO. The applicant will be responsible for obtaining permit coverage from New York State DEC, SPDES, general permit for stormwater discharges, construction activity, GP 0-20-001, for this revision. Solar panels installed at this site shall not utilize vanadium telluride or the materials coming in known potentially toxic or carcinogenic. If solar panels are going to cause glare on neighboring structures, public highways, the applicant will be responsible for addressing the glare and additional screening or other methods. These issues are not addressed in a timely manner. The special use permit will not be renewed. No herbicide or pesticides are used on the site. When completing the decommissioning, the applicant should be responsible for deep ripping, topsoil, overburden layers, and decompact the soils. Construction activities will not occur outside normal work hours listed in EAF Part 1 of this project, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday. They're required to establish decommissioning fund based on estimated decommissioning costs for the bond escrow means. The company will design because parent prior to the issuance of the execution of the benefit agreement approved by attorneys. That needs to be met by the new annually in accordance with county Machias local law 1/2021. Issuance of special use permit is not limited to the end and all other local laws and regulations. Many of the conditions, special use permit, site plan improvements, other local and federal laws, rules and regulations should be grounds for ratification of special use permit and or the site plan. Ratification may occur after the applicant is notified in writing violation by the town of Machias Board. Once the hearing is on the same. Is that the vote of town of Machias? That meeting held on the 15th day of May, 2023.
I'm over.
Steve,
Yes,
Tom?
Yeah.
Bob Shank,
Yes.
Bob Green,
No.
Frank.
Yeah.
with the application, the stuff you can replicate on SPF. And resolution accepted through the western side. Also minus 5 MW facility. Or parts of the resolution are the same as the foregoing, with red. Resolution is stated. Hereby that the committee voting town of Chax Village official meeting on the 15th day of May 2022.
I'm over.
Second,
Steve,
yes,
Tom?
Yeah.
Bob Shank, Bob Green,
No.
Frank.
Yeah.
who will not prepayments for medical insurance. The bills for employee medical and vision insurance are due by the first of each month. Whereas the bills that are not received in time to be approved by the board. Whereas the amounts of these bills can change monthly. Now therefore be resolved, Congress authorizes prepayment of the following bills. Medical insurance in the panel one. 2024. General fund, $1,977.79. The highway fund, $6,627.33. Water fund, $692.96. Vision insurance, ESP, PSP. General fund, $3,003. The highway fund, $84.59. Water fund, $950. Standing agreement adopted by the majority board of town. Chax board. Meeting held on 15th day of May, year 2023.
Don't second.
Steve,
Yes.
Tom?
Yep.
Bob Shank,
Yes.
Bob Green,
Yep.
Frank Ford.
On Plains Way. As one person is Dr. Jones. The abstract 5, where's the town board reviewed the abstract 5, whereas the town board has audited the deductions included abstract 5 and approved them for payment. Now therefore be resolved, the town board authorized payment of all functions on abstract 5. General fund was 66 through 90, 16,152.39. MRU 15 through 17, $244.05. Highway fund 67 through 82, $13,113.09. Street lighting number 4, $1,547.29. Water fund 25 through 30, $4,790.61. And the sewer fund 17 through 23, amount of $6,395.42. Resolution hereby adopted by the majority vote of the town of Machias on 15th day of May, year 2023.
I'll second.
Steve,
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah.
Bob Shank, Bob Green.
Yep.
Frank Ford.
Yep.
Board.
I just want to remind everyone, the June meeting will not be zoomed because I will be out of the country. And for the second half of June, I'm not sure. I have a deputy, but she has another job, so I'm not sure exactly what hours she's going to be here. They'll be posted on the door and on the answering machine, but please come out before you come over if you're coming in the second half of June.
Motion for the I'll second.
Second. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
required